Liam, second recording in a day, mate. Getting a professional at this, ain't you? How you doing, mate?
Yeah, mate, I'm all good, especially after that win.
It feels weird to talk about win, doesn't it, really, to be honest? Yes, for anyone who isn't aware, we obviously put out a little video earlier, just probably about 10 minutes before the team sheets came out for the Grimsby game. It was a very quick video. It was obviously very rawly unedited. If anyone looks at it and thinks it doesn't look like our usual format, it's probably because it got recorded and pushed out within a very small amount of time. But I think we'll probably end up talking about the Grimsby game in a short while, Liam. I think first of all, we should probably talk about Wednesday night. Bit of a calamitous game. For anyone who is interested in my football journey diaries, I didn't drop a 10 out of 10 stinker this week. Managed to pull it back and redeem myself for Tracy Ireland. The gaffer was happy. Big shout out to Alf. He was happy with my performance this week. I dropped it at centre back, and instead of playing up Christoph Berra, I was a bit more like Cannavaro. Not my words. Promise. Yes. So Wednesday came along, mate.
Yeah.
No draw with Forest, which on the grand scheme of it doesn't seem like the worst result in the world. But we're both sitting here looking quite deflated about the game. Do you want to talk about that first half, mate?
Yeah, someone at work was like, "Oh, you drew to Forest, and yeah, like good result." And I was like, "Mate, I don't know how we drew to Forest. Did they have like 33 shots or something stupid?" First half, bit deflating. That first half was because I felt like that was our worst whole performance, but definitely our worst first half that I could ever remember. And we've had some bad ones.
Yeah.
Forest just seemed to have it so easy. They came at us every attack. Every time we had the ball, we'd just click it up to Tolu. 9 times out of 10, it'd go over his head. And if he'd hold it up, he had no one at all around him. And Forest just seemed to be able just to keep picking up second balls up. And they was just rolling for us at times, weren't they? The only thing I would say is that our defence kind of held quite tight, obviously with a clean sheet, but their shots came from outside the box, didn't they? A lot of them. And then when they did, decent chances, like Jose Star had one of the best games I think he's had in a Wolves shirt. So then they kind of held us together and got us through to half time. I thought 0-0 at half time was unbelievable, to be honest with you, with how the game had started. What do you think, Dan?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of went back over the stats towards the end of the game. And look, this isn't discrediting Forest because, to be perfectly honest, they absolutely battered us with attempts. We're just lucky that Forest just woeful in front of goal. I think they had 35 shots altogether. And I believe 17 came from outside the box. So it tells you everything that you need to know about Wolves' defence in that game. I think they were very press resistant, which was good. I think they played the ball well. I don't think they invited too much pressure. And all these things feel like positives to say, to be honest, because obviously, if you rewind back to the start of the season, our defending was just atrocious in every way. And to be able to not comfortably get through the Forest game, because like I say, it wasn't a good game, especially by Wolves' standards. It was a horrendous game. But to keep it to a clean sheet and to not allow players like Gibbs White to dictate a game was a very small credit that we can give to the club. We obviously went back to the 5 at the back, which I think Rob Edwards has already said that he was probably going to have to do in the Premier League because he hasn't got the players to play the way that he would like to test for next season, which is fair enough. But yeah, I mean, look, as football fans, the one thing that we want is to see our team score goals, regardless. We obviously want defensive stability. We don't want to get roll over and let teams just go through us like a wrecking ball. But at the same time, even if you're not getting goals, you want to see chances. You want to see just a little bit of spark, a little bit of creation. And it's something that we're severely lacking at the moment. I know Nat pulled up about it last week, really, talking about our chance creation. And he found, I think Sky Sports reported something about the difference between Rob Edwards' Middlesbrough side and the new Middlesbrough Gaffers side. And he kind of outscores him in every single statistic for the season. But at the same time, Rob Edwards has inherited an awful team, and there is kind of no way to go about it. But yeah, that first half, it's one of them, isn't it? Like, I can understand why Wolves would go into that half, well, going into the half-time whistle with the score at 0-0, because that would frustrate the Forest fans. They're at times a passionate bunch, and if you can frustrate them, And if you can make the players try and push that extra 5 yards up and you can create a small amount of chances where you can be clinical, that was obviously the game plan all along. Did it work? Sort of did, because they didn't score and they did push further forward and the fans were getting irritated at the game. But thankfully, we defended well. I don't know if you agree with that, Liam, but
Yeah, I just don't know. We set up to kind of keep that clean sheet, but games like that where the reason why we're doing those is because we don't have anything in ourselves to try and win that game. And again, with that game, I don't know what the plan was to try and how we was going to score the goal. I think we've got to talk about these long throws because Mosqueda's having these long throws, and for me, if you're taking a long throw, it's got to beat the first man defending the line. Like we're not even half the time. It's not even getting close to one of our players. I don't get how Mosquera. I get how he's on the long throws, but I don't get how we're using them for so deep and away from the box when he can't reach it. It just don't make sense to me because it's like just giving the ball away. We might as well just throw it back to their keeper because they're dealing with it too easy. So I'd like to see that change. And again, like when Tolu plays, I don't think we have to keep just lumping the ball up to him because I don't see that as a solution. I don't see that as a solution for next year. Granted, Tolu's good at holding the ball up, but for me, he has to do kind of a little bit more as well. He can't just be a striker that's just going to hold the ball up and do nothing else when 9 times out of 10 that ball doesn't get held up anyway. So yeah, there's a lot more to work on to get ourselves to finish the season like how we don't want to finish below Derby's points record, in my opinion.
yeah. I think the thing with the Mosquera throws is, and I'm not trying to back Rob Edwards here. I think we should probably scrap it by now. We should look at different ways to get the ball into the box or create chances. I think it's so religiously used this season. I think Arsenal and Mikel Arteta Haramball have kind of introduced this style where everything's set piece routines now.
Yeah.
And
Brentford as well.
Brentford, there's loads. It's so frustrating, not just being a Wolves fan, but being a football fan in general, because I know it splits opinions, and a lot of people hate Pep Guardiola for the way that he's introduced this new style of football to the Premier League. I prefer the Pep football. I know it's not to everybody's taste, but if I could watch my perfect team, and if I could watch the perfect players playing the ball fluidly around the pitch, and it's, really eye-catching, that's the way that I'd like to play football. Did anyone actually enjoy Tony Pulis, Sam Allardyce? Did they enjoy that football like 10 years ago? I don't think so. I think everyone has said that football has moved on. And then for Mikel Arteta to suddenly just reintroduce this Haramball style where we literally you're aiming for corners. Like, this is the problem that I have with football in today's day and age, and a lot of people don't talk about it. And I know this is a bit of a tangent off Wolves, but I don't want to see my team shooting from 40 yards out to try and win a corner because they have a better chance of scoring a goal from a header off a corner rather than playing some nice fluid football. And me and you probably disagree on that. I don't know. I know Craig's not a fan of the Pep Guardiola ball either, but I'd much rather just see something nice on the eye.
Yeah.
Than
Yeah.
this is where it kind of ties back to the Mosquera thing, because we haven't got any. Our set piece coach, whatever we have with regards to set piece, I don't see us trying anything ridiculously tactical to score goals off corners. So launching the ball into the box isn't working. It's just come straight back as a counter attack every single occasion. So maybe we have to be a bit more creative. But we'll see. We'll see. I've had my little tangent. What do you think on the whole football side of it, by the way? What do you think? So people can kind of get an insight into what you think of football at the minute.
Well, I really enjoyed today's game.
To
go totally away from what you said, mate, I thought today's game was just, I don't know what I liked. It was just totally different to what we've seen all season. And I think I get what you're saying about playing it out, but sometimes teams can play out from the back who aren't good enough.
Yeah.
The passes are off and they're just great for throw-ins anyway. So, like you say, if you're watching a top dollar team, then like the football's unbelievable, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know, mate, I'm mixed. I love to see a good corner put in. I like to see a bit of a counter attack. I just like to see games that are open and tackles flying in and people winning the ball. Yeah, People running and turning with the ball rather than just keep passing back and playing safe. Like I love to see a good winger or number 10 just getting on the turn and just trying to create something. So, but yeah, today's game was just I loved it.
Right. Now, in all fairness, we obviously will come back on to today's game in a short moment of time. But yeah, I agree with what you're saying. I think there's obviously aspects to the part of the game. Like at the moment, the role of a winger is absolutely killed, and I love wingers. I love direct wingers like Rodrigo Gomez. I know he splits some opinions, but like sort of like a Pedro Neto. I know people have given him stick recently. Like someone who's direct and run down the wing and either get a ball in the
Yeah,
box or the ones who can cut inside and shoot from the edge of the box. I do
I
love
think
them.
it's. I think that's like the a dying breed now, isn't it? Like it seems to be
That is
that
the
type of
problem.
wingers going out of the game,
Yeah,
similar to
the,
how long throws and corner kicks had gone out of the game a few years back. They
yeah.
always creep back in, don't they? But I think what you're saying is, when like a team gets a style, like Arsenal doing it, Brentford are doing it. For me, that's enough. I don't want to see every team doing it because then football just
Yeah.
gets repetitive. It's good to see different brands and styles and things like that, isn't it? For me,
Thing is, Uh,
yeah,
you can directly link this to Wolves as well, and it's something that obviously we've been so frustrated with. Is Wolves' style of football has been five at the back, counter pressing teams, and like whether people like it or not, I'm a constant whinger of a five at the back. I cannot stand a five at the back, but that is our style. But then when you're trying to introduce that style with a little bit of the Pep style, with a little bit of the Mikel Arteta style, and mix it with a little bit of like Unai Emery, who's obviously smashing it with Villa, unfortunately. Look, you're trying to introduce too many different stuff to a team that just lacks quality. And you're right in what you're saying. Like, if we supported a team like Manchester City, we would love Pep Ball. Unfortunately, we don't support a team like Manchester City, whose owners love to pump money into the club, and
yeah.
we are unfortunately a team that's seen a massive decline. But even when you go back to like the Nuno days, like the whole thing that I enjoyed about the Nuno ball was all right. Yes, we was a counter-attacking team, absolutely we was, but we still knew how to play the ball.
Yeah.
Could allow teams to come on to us and move the ball around, and then pick perfect times to spread the ball or perfect times to draw players in, and then move the ball around the middle of the pitch. And even then, you're looking at like when we're talking about like handball players, you've still got like Ryan Bennett at the back, who's his whole career has been nice hard tackles, smash the ball upfield if you're in danger.
He
But
was
it
a bit of our long
worked.
throw taker, weren't
Oh God, yeah, we haven't been blessed. We haven't been blessed with long throw takers slash
he?
anyone who can beat the front man on the, on the
Yeah.
front post in years.
That
I think we
new
should probably move
style
on
was
to
different though, only because we had a bit of qualities.
yeah,
We'd wait 15, 20 minutes because we knew when we had the ball and we got into the game, we'd be
yeah,
fighting in whoever we wanted to attack, didn't we?
yeah, yeah. Right, let's move on to the second half and squash this Forest game whilst we can, because it wasn't the most of interesting games, was it?
Yeah, I was just
Uh,
hoping that we'd come out a bit more in that second half, and we just didn't, did we? And Forest should have scored that one chance at Star, somehow plucked out. Like, what would we have if Forest did score one of them? Like, that's my question. Like, we would have, I think we would have been stuck. Mane didn't get on the ball as much as we'd have liked. But, for
mhm,
me, Elliot Anderson, for them, a step above. Like, he's
yeah.
playing those teams. He had it too easy at times, didn't he? Like, Nico Williams had about 7 shots on the edge of the box. I just don't get how they were just so dominant. Like we had players turning the backs to block a shot when contrast to today it was totally different style and play, weren't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think the problem is we'd obviously tried so much for that Chelsea game to see if we could try and change the direction of the way that we like to play football. And obviously, when it didn't work, and we just gone straight back to the five back, you kind of got players just falling into natural roles and natural positions, and everything just felt a bit comfortable.
Yeah.
Which is probably the wrong way to get, especially when you're going against Forest. You kind of have to take the long and short of it is the players know that they're new, and it's not for a fact of like not trying. It's more for like a damage limitation than anything. I think if they knew that they could walk out of Forest with a clean sheet, they thought the fans will be happy with that. We've not gone away from home. We've not got battered. It's still technically a derby. It's a Midlands derby. Their fans are going to be up for it. They don't keep White scoring. So as long as they did the basics right, and I think that's probably what the instruction was coming out of management as well. I think they thought if we managed to nick one, like we almost did at the end of the game, with Joe Gomez feeding Tolu, and he got the ball out
Yeah.
wide to Mane. I think if they thought they could snatch a cheeky 1-0 coming into that, they'd have took that from that game.
Yeah.
So, yes, we are still bottom of the Premier League, just on to 9 points now. So, we're only one special win away from getting above Derby's dreadful records. Let's hope we can pick up that 3 points soon. That would be nice. And then let's see if we can try and, like a lot of people have said, try and end the season without going ahead on a whimper and show teams that we could probably do some damage next year if there's the right investment. But we move on to more fortuitous occasions. Wolves have won another game of football. Shame it's not in the league. Liam liked to point out earlier, we're going to Wembley, que sera, jazz. No, I wish it was a horrible game, a hard game to watch. And I think you have to give credit where credit's due to some of those players, because everybody expects that Premier League team to run through teams like Grimsby, and I know I know a lot of their fans have been giving it the big and all over social media.
Yeah, I've seen them a few times. Yeah.
What do Grimsby fans expect of Wolves? Like, the ball was stuck on the pitch on so many different occasions. So we're not going to try and pass around doing fluid tiki-taka football, and everything is prime Liam Cooper ball for that. Let's be honest. If that ball is stuck in the mud, lump the fucker up to the top and see what we can make stick.
Yeah, like when Mane attempted to make a pass through to Chew, and he just stopped on the pitch, didn't it? Like, to be honest, in a league game, I don't think that game would have been played. I think it was only played because it was such a big occasion in the FA Cup. But yeah, like the weather, everything just added. I just love watching it. Like, it was so different just to see teams like going into slow tackles and just being like absolutely like thick of mud and things like that. It was great. I enjoyed it. I did. And I think when the game started, I think it was important that we showed a bit of togetherness, a bit of toughness. Yeah, like we battled. They had that early chance straight away, didn't they? Like, we could have crumbled on that one. So many players could have been like, "No, I don't want this," you know?
Yeah.
And, I think it was the 7th minute, the ball went in the air and Tolu just like takes out their centre half. And I was like, okay, he wants it. Their centre halves I don't think was going to be expecting something like that. Like, you know what I mean? And when you see that happen, I'm like, okay, right, he wants it. Then you see Molly Wolf get absolutely snapped, and it was a bit of a dodgy tackle, to be fair, weren't it?
Yeah.
But then he just gets back up and they've got a corner, and then he's like grappling with someone. So I was like, yeah, he wants it. Mosquera's getting stuck in, he fancies it all day long.
You knew Mosquera was going to be right up for his.
Simple things like, I know, but things like Andre coming out with a t-shirt on, like Sam Johnson, anytime the ball's around, we were just sliding for it, and just like, they seemed to be enjoying it, didn't they? Like, Santi Brown looked up for the battle. And it was little moments like, and I was thinking, you know what, like, regardless of the football, the first thing is, can we battle? And I think we had it to abundance. Like, we was up for that fight and that pitch, weren't we?
Yeah, I agree. Was it the sexiest game of football you're ever going to see? No. I'd love to see what the stats was for complete passes throughout that game.
Yeah.
If it was above 100, I'll be surprised. And people are going to, people from different fan bases are going to slate Wolves as well, because they didn't look like a Premier League team today. And I'm glad they didn't need to be. Did I want it to be the sexiest of games? No, because you couldn't play football in that. And I think you've hit the nail on the head with talking about individual players wanting to be up for the battle. We've gone through a whole season of players bottling challenges, bottling 50-50s, not putting 100% effort in. Every player to a man today was there and present.
They won their 50-50. Like, not one of them lost their battle today.
Yeah, no, of course. And especially when you've got foreign players as well who, are known for not wanting that fight with the English players, some of the hard knocks from lower down in the divisions who've been playing football for years on end. Like I say, when Tolu went in with that crunching header and not the centre half down in the first half, I was pleased with that. I wanted to see a little bit of that. But then you also had that guile. I know Mane didn't have a very good game today, but you had that guile of, he would always try and take a man on and try something that was a bit different to how we were playing. And Adam Armstrong was making runs in behind, even though the balls probably weren't going to come, and he knew the balls weren't going to come.
Yeah.
But on that just just on occasion that balls may come over or just come round, like the free kick did, where Joe played a quick one through. You have to be present and aware to try and get those chances. And in the end, I know we didn't score from that, but Joe hit the bar. It was brilliant free kick. Adam Armstrong, great running behind to try and get Wolves going a little bit. And regardless of what other fans are going to say, and whatever Grimsby fans are going to say, we outfought Grimsby that game.
Yeah,
And
I agree.
it's plain as simple as that.
And we mentioned João Gomez there. I think he just looks better for me when he's got a bit of reins loose on him and he hasn't got to sit in that number 6 so deep.
Yeah.
Like when he's just breaking up play, always picking up that second ball. That's for me where I would like to see him play more often. But games like that, he can do it because we've got more percentage to the ball, haven't we? So he can get in those positions. Yeah, so I was happy with the first half, to be honest. I'd like to have seen us create a few more clear-cut chances, but like you say, with the pitch, it's not like playing on our own pitch, is it? Like, I think it would have been a totally different game on our pitch. We look fitter than them. We look more up for the battle than them. We looked like, creating wise. Yeah, I think it was a strong first half.
Yeah, I think it was a strong all-round game, to be honest. And like I say, all I wanted from that was to see what Wolves could do when the chips are against them. Because at the end of the day, I think there was there like 2 shots on target in the whole game or 3 shots on target in the whole game.
Yeah.
There wasn't going to be much. There wasn't going to be much in it. And we knew that one goal was probably going to seal that game. And then it was, later into that, to that second half where Wolves was trying to start creating stuff on the flanks, and they were trying to be a little bit more inventive. They're trying to be a little bit more creative and just whipping that ball into the box. And I know we've given Mosquera plaudits about it before, so it's time to do the same to Santi, because I know it came initially from a corner and the centre back was up there, but to just have players up there itching and scratching to get in front of the man, to get any contact on the ball, to try and put the ball in the back of the net. And I love the celebration. Everyone's going, "Oh, what's he celebrating like that?" Obviously, teams from fans from different teams, but everyone's like, "Why is he celebrating like that against a League Two team?" What do you think? Every player wanted that. Every player wanted to get through to the next round. The 2 games away from Wembley. And look, nobody's sitting here with any expectation, maybe apart from you, Liam, but nobody's sitting here with any expectation of us going down and winning the FA Cup. For us as fans, we just want a little bit of pride. A little bit of a cup run's nice. We've had 2 semi-decent cup runs. If you can go and get another decent tie, then you can get to Wembley. Look, at least the fans have had some form of enjoyment out of this dismal season.
Yeah. I imagine if it was there, it's never going to happen, but man, we got a chance of winning the FA Cup.
Do you know what? I'd love to know what the odds would be for Wolves to win the FA Cup and go into the Europa League whilst they're in Europe, and for Forest to win the Europa League and be playing in the Championship in the Champions League. Because honestly, imagine that. That would be some of the craziest scenes going. And I would love that. That would be so fun. But yeah.
I was just going to say, like that, we had a few half chances. Like Adam Armstrong with that chance. Oh, I should have buried it, shouldn't he? He should have set up our second half. I know he's had a bit of stick about it, but like his first touch was really good. But then before we hit it, he seen the ball just seemed to stop in it underneath his feet. You have to take that extra touch. Yeah. I think that just knocked him off. But with his standard, he should have buried that one, to be fair. And now Santi got it. By the way, he was excellent. He won every header. He didn't get bullied at all. He was so calm on the ball, even under that the pressure with the pitch. Took a great goal. I think Rob Edwards after the game said he's our top goal scorer.
Yeah, still our top goal scorer.
And like that last ditch tackle that he made at the end, and like his bit of a celebration when he did it. Like for me, that is brilliant to see, and that's what you want in your centre half, isn't it? Like winning everything, being tough, being strong. And when we first signed him and he weren't really playing, everyone would question mark his physicality, whether he could last in our leagues. I think he's starting to prove that he has got that in the locker, hasn't he? And I think he's a bit of an underrated centre-half. And I think he's one of the reasons why at times in games we don't get absolutely battered, because he's starting to prove his worth, and I do think he's a really good defender. So yeah, he was excellent today. I think João Gomez had another good game. I think it was perfect for him. He just needed to have a bit of a scrap.
that dog.
Try and pick up a loose ball. He got an assist from gaining those positions. But yeah, I would give it to Santi as well, to be fair. I thought he was excellent today. What about you?
Yeah, I mean it's hard not to pick Santi. I know
Yeah.
we're going to talk about him in more light in a couple of minutes' time. So I'll try and save all my plaudits for him until then. I think, but yeah, there was a couple for me. I particularly enjoyed Andre's performance, if I'm going to be honest, as well. I think there was just a player, especially when he got his yellow cards. Like, I was screaming at the telly at one point. I can't remember who it was. I can't remember if it was Tatua or not. Where no, sorry, it wasn't. I'll tell you who it was. It was Bellegarde at the end of the game. I was screaming at the telly when it was literally coming up to the last moments of the game, just before they got their onslaught of corners, where the players nicked the ball off him, run past him, and the first thing Andre did earlier in the game when someone did that was yank him down. It's the perfect position to do it. No danger. Take yellow, move on. Bellegarde is trying to like, play with his shoulder a little bit. He doesn't drag him down.
Yeah,
He
saw
gets
that,
towards the edge of the box, gets out wide, wins the corner in the last minutes of the game. They send the keeper up. That place would have been toxic if that wouldn't have happened. And I think that's something where our season's been defined by moments like this because we haven't been nasty enough. As much as I'm trying not to, shit on Bellegarde too much, credit to Andre because I think he bossed that game in terms of I think they're the core of players to us. We want this a bit more than them. Like they're Brazilians ain't really going to care about winning this midfield battle, and both of them did. In all fairness to him, Andre was absolutely running the show in midfield, and he couldn't even do what Andre does best. He couldn't even grab the ball and pass it and be that option to then take the ball and pass it out wide. There was no passing going on in that game, so all he had to do was the simple stuff. If your man beats you, you make sure he doesn't get 10 yards further than what he started with because we could have been in trouble a couple of times today if we wouldn't have been doggy. So I think Andre is a massive shout up there, along obviously with Santi. I think Tolu made some good runs again. I think his hold-up play was good. Still needs a couple of goals, but to be honest, I'm not going to crap on anyone today for not scoring goals because I think you could have smashed that ball at full pelt and I reckon it got stuck in the mud on the line. Those chances weren't gonna come today. To be honest, I would probably agree with you and give it to Santi, but big shout out to Tolu and Andre for it. And Joe Gomez because everybody knows I love Joe Gomez. One person in particular I do want to mention, and I don't know whether you agree with me with this. I thought Jackson Tatua was actually all right, And I think he was the one person in that game where when we were trying to do something, we used him the right way in terms of if you're lumping the balls forward and you're going to try and find an outlet to try and get down and get balls into the box, you have to do it from wide positions. And when he did have the ball today, he knew that obviously the surface wasn't going to allow him to be able to glide past players. He'd kick the ball 5 or 6 yards in front of him, and he would actually use it. It might be the first time I've seen it in a Wolves shirt. He'd use what he's got in his locker and sprint past the players, then knock another 5 or 6 yards and sprint past the players. And even his crossing wasn't horrendous today. And I think you have to give big credit to Tatua to kind of recognise that this game was all built around him today when in other games he's gone quiet.
Yeah, I think that they didn't seem to have much pace on their side, did they, their left side? So it gave them a bit of an advantage when he did have the ball. I think that helped him out today.
Yeah, absolutely. We've just got a little message from Nat in our chat, and I know he wants us to bring something up. He has asked why Pedro Lima did not get a run out today. I'm going to be perfectly honest. It's come at the right time, hasn't it? Because I've just been talking about Jackson Tatua.
Did you see Rob Edwards' comments about the subs?
No.
I'm sure I read that when someone asked him about why he only made one sub, he said that he turned round and his subs looked a bit cold, so he decided to carry on with what he was going with. I don't know if it was a comment taking the piss or whatnot, but yeah, when I was reading it, it was like on his little bio thing about what he'd said about the game and stuff and about the pitch, etc. Then yeah, that was apparently his comment on the subs. So like you say, we can only go by what he sees, and if he don't see that those players actually fancied it, I think he said something like he didn't want to bring anybody on to have a negative impact if they weren't up to it because of how the game was going. Because it was quite a tight game till the end, weren't it? So maybe that was one of the reasons why. he didn't play or we didn't bring him on. I don't know, mate. I'm stuck. What do you think?
I think it's experience as well, isn't it? And I know Thatcher has obviously not got much experience in the English league, but he has at least got experience in senior football. And at the end of the day, as we've said all day, the pitch wasn't great, the football wasn't great. And for what it was worth, I thought Thatcher had an half decent game, to be honest. And if you brought on someone like Pedro Lima or Rodrigo Gomez, especially someone like Rodrigo, who is quite injury prone, it only takes one of their players to come in with a crunching tackle and then you're without him for 6 or 7 weeks. Or if he stretches too much or, pulls a hammer, does anything stupid. The same as with like Pedro Lima. At the end of the day, he's had a couple of injuries since he's come to Wolves, and you kind of have to protect the younger players as well.
I'd like to think that if he played at home, he would have started that game.
Yeah, I think if the fixture was reversed and it was at Molineux, that would have been a completely different game today, and there would have been. I still think Thatcher would have started because it's the same as like Johnson, isn't it? Like Jose Sara's played out of his skin the last few weeks, but you kind of do give these fringe players an opportunity to be able to show something. And whether we like Thatcher or not, he would have probably been given the nod today. But I would have probably agreed to seeing like Pedro Lima on after maybe 60 minutes or something just to kind of see where he would have gone, and he would have probably left Rodrigo to be playing further upfield. It's one of them games, wasn't it? At the end of the day, I'm happy. Look, we're through to the 5th round of the cup. When's the draw? Is it tomorrow, I
I
believe?
think I saw tomorrow, yeah. Before Macclesfield play Brentford, eh?
Okay. So let's see where the cup takes us. If we could go and get Mansfield, that would be lovely.
home.
At home, yeah, please. Just so the pitch doesn't cripple us next time. But yeah, let's look. We're on a cup run now. We're going to the FA Cup final. We're going to go and beat Man City in the final, and we're going to go into the Championship with European football next year. So, I mean, swings and roundabouts, boys. Swings and roundabouts. Santi Bueno, Liam. Santi Bueno obviously had a cracking game today, but I think we obviously need to talk about the elephant in the room with Santi Bueno, because every time we have this conversation about Hwang so consistently. Hwang doesn't come across to me as somebody who's a great footballer, but seems to always get the nod when a new manager comes in. It's kind of the roles reversed with Santi. The new manager comes in, they obviously don't think he's quick enough, physical enough for the league, and they drop him, and then somebody else kind of comes in place. This time, he seems to be getting a good run under Rob Edwards, who obviously didn't fancy him at the start as well. And he looks a player who, when we get into the Championship, we're going to need him next year. He's one of those players, which sounds ridiculous to say, with the experience that he's got and having a few years of Premiership football under his belt. He seems like a player who is very quiet, very, like Nelson Semedo, just kind of demanded a bit from his players. It kind of feels like that with him. Like you can see him trying to orchestrate Mosquera in the way that he tells him to go, or he tells him to stay back. And he kind of, not saying he's the same sort of player as Conor Cody, but commands more of his centre-backs around him and the defenders around him. And I think he's a crucial player going into next year. I think we have to keep him.
Yeah. Did we nickname him Sergio Ramos at the start of the season when we did one of our player ratings?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, like you say, he was excellent today, and one of those centre halves where in a moment like that, in a game like that, that's what you need from your centre half, isn't it? Everything that you've just said and I've just said earlier. Would I take him next year? Yeah, I think he would definitely help us. I can't see him dropping to the Championship. I can see someone coming and taking him. But yeah, I agree with what you're saying. Like, he does seem to kind of try and galvanise that group and get him where he kind of wants them to be. I was thinking that when I saw the lineup today, I was wondering if he was going to be captain or not, and it was Andre, weren't he?
Yeah.
And I was thinking maybe is it because like his English maybe not that strong, I don't know, but yeah, that last ditch tackle that he made, he didn't need to make that. If some of those players didn't really want to be there, and we were in a bit of a slump, didn't we? He didn't really need to make that tackle, did he? Like we could have just conceded the goal. But for him to get back in there and make that slow tackle, celebrate the way he did, like it was really good to see, to be fair. And I think the fans do appreciate him a little bit because we do sing his name a little bit and we don't sing many names at the moment, but he does seem to get a few accolades, doesn't he? And like you say, like he can score goals in the box, he gets in the right places, and technically he's a very good footballer on the ball, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he is. I think he's brilliant. I think I try not to compare him too much to Connor Cody because I think it's wrong to do that. But when you're talking about him, is a bloke who's not blessed with much pace. He's got a very good passing ability. He sits comfortably in the middle of a back three and commands his wider centre backs and tells them what to do in a game. It's hard to not compare him to Connor Cody at this point. And then you kind of have to look at that role. And if we are going to be so persistent next season with it, with five at the back, he has to stay. I think that the obvious question raised there is if Rob does change to the four at the back, is he still in that? Is he still in that line? Because obviously his pace does let him down.
Yeah.
But he's such a solid, calm head. And like I say, with today's challenge, he knows Mosquera's going to drop at least one clanger every game. And he didn't get rid of the ball quick enough. He lost the ball. And then they're through on goal. And he's always recovering from mistakes, not just from Mosquera, but from other players. He's kind of like a recovery defender is the best way to describe it. And I think he's pivotal to us as a team, to be honest. Would you play him in the back four? I think that's the big question.
It's hard to say, isn't it? Because we haven't seen him much. And when he played that against Chelsea, not one of them got close to João Pedro. So maybe it is hard when you're in the back three and then you're in the back four straight away. You need a bit of time to adjust. If he has a pre-season in the back four, maybe he can settle. Obviously, he's got aspects of his game that I think can suit a back four because your fullbacks are kind of a bit more flat, aren't they? So there might not be so many gaps out wide. I think he's better suited when he's not in that foot race, like you said. So if he's not dragged out wide, I think he's a lot better. He's quite good in the air defensively, clearing the ball as well. I think he had a few decent flick-ons defensively away today as well. So, but yeah, I think he can play in the back four. I'm not going to make a judgment yet because we obviously haven't seen it, have we? And from what I have seen, none of us can play in the back four at the moment. So, but yeah, he's a good defender in our.
Yeah, especially
What do you
upgraded to
think?
Santi by now.
Do you think he can play in the back four?
Depending on the players that you have around him, I think he can.
He's got aspects that can suit the back four, hasn't he?
Yeah, if you can have a competent right back and a competent left back and even a competent midfielder in front of him, I think he suits a 4-3-3 perfectly, if I'm honest. If he's got a sitter in front of him and he knows he can go out wide to cover the spaces, if we've got a surging right back who bombs for, say like Rodrigo Gomez is there and he's done one of his marauding runs and he can't get back in time. I think as long as he knows he's got someone competent in front of him, he knows he can cover and command that space on the right hand side. So I think he has got the ability to play on that right. It's just it's over to Rob now at the end of the day, or it's over to anybody else who comes in if Rob isn't the manager next season, as to have a look at him to say, can he play in the back four? I think the talk about next season for me leads us quite nicely onto talking about next season. We'll do a whole other podcast about like formation and stuff like that. Is there any players that you think Wolves will definitely keep next year who are going to be pivotal to the way that we play, excluding Santi because we've already talked about him? There's obviously been reports this week about the young prodigy Matthias Mane been linked with a £50 million switch to Liverpool, Manchester United, every club who's half decent, to be honest. And apparently his agent has been to the Liverpool training grounds. It's a step that obviously no Wolves fans would want. But £50 million for an 18-year-old kid who's only had a handful of experience in the Premier League. What do you think to the speculation, mate?
I don't think you can turn down 50 million if that comes in, especially with a team that's getting relegated. I'm stuck because I feel like if he has a bit of he started quite positive, hasn't he? And he's been like a breath of fresh air. He's been a step above any other attacker that we've had this season. But if his form kind of dwindles out, I feel like it definitely would be the right time to make that sale, because if you go into the Championship and, it's not going to say that we're going to storm the Championship. Look at Leicester and Southampton, they've struggled, haven't they? If we go down and we struggle and he doesn't hit that form, he's probably not even going to get 15 million for him. So I think we've got to be very smart with what we do. Looking at it from his sense, like you've just came into a Premier League team in the first team. Like for me, but I would not want my agents looking at anywhere other than me focusing on my finish to the end of the season, I'd be wanting a bit the best of my game to showcase what I've got, because you've only just come in a little bit. You've not like a proven Premier League player. I don't know why you're even contemplating doing things like that, because if your form dwindles down now and you don't get the goals and assists and performances that you're looking at, you're not going to get that sale, and Wolves aren't going to go cheap. I think hopefully he stays a little bit more grounded. Hopefully it's agent talk, because we all know what agents can be like from what we read and see. And it's not him directly, because I would be a bit disappointed if that is coming from him, that he's already looking at that next step, because you just walked into our team, so I'd be gutted, because if I was Mane, why would you want to be going to like Liverpool and Man City and Arsenal, etc., these teams where, let's face it, he's not going to get in that team. He's not going to get in any of those three teams that we've just mentioned. He'll be sat on the bench. He'll be loaned out. If he struggles, it'll take him 2 or 3 seasons to get his career back, in my opinion. So for me, if he was to leave Wolves, I'd be looking at a team where you got more chance of playing every week. Look at what Everton have done under David Moyes with the player like Dewsbury and Grealish, and they've kicked on, haven't they? I'd want to go to a team where I would kick on rather than just being sat on the bench because you're not good enough to get in the team. What do you think?
I think at the end of the day, agents will be agents, and they get very bored when it's not transferring, and they're always looking to move players on. And I think I mentioned it either on last week's podcast or the podcast before, where when we do eventually go down, and it's inevitable, the agents have got to act first, and whoever acts first will get the move. Because like we said, we can't dismantle this whole team. As much as it's not a great team, we can't dismantle it and have a squad of 5 or 6 and have to buy a whole new team next year. So Wolves are going to have to be savvy. I don't think Matheus Mane is, perfectly honest. I think he's won 2 Player of the Months. He looks happy. I don't think anyone, even in these last few weeks, I don't think he's looked the same player as what he was before. But I'm not discrediting Mane with that. I think he looks a bit tired. I think he looks a bit jaded. I think there was always going to be this time period where he wasn't going to be the most influential player in the Wolves team, because teams get wind to start doubling up on players, making it hard for him, especially with the type of player that he is. He's influencing games. He's getting the ball from deep, driving forward, picking out players, having shots, etc. And at the end of the day, he looks like he's enjoying his football. Wolves fans obviously adore him. He's one of the only players who's got a song at the minute. He's won 2 Player of the Month awards back to back. I don't see a world where he's engineering this move. I see it as Liverpool have obviously looked at him, and good. I am absolutely buzzing for the chap, that he has got serious interest from serious Premier League teams, ones who want to win titles and play in the Champions League. And they will obviously just get in touch with his agent and they will say, come down, we'll show you around, and then you can sell it to Matthias, and he can then orchestrate the move to get out of Wolverhampton. That's when it's up to him. And we can't judge a young kid until the season's over and then he starts making moves. And at the end of the day, I don't think he's going to be pushing for that type of move. And I think if Wolves were smart about it, they would probably if they had to sell him and he wanted out, I think there would be some part of the deal where they either sell on with a percentage of transfer, or sell to a big club, but we want him back for the season. I don't know, that's maybe overly positive with an ownership that obviously hasn't been great for some time now. That's just the way that you go about it. And look, there's been players before who have gone down, who have looked unbelievable.
Yeah.
I'll keep coming back to him. Jeremy Bonga was 16 when he made his Premier League debut. He stayed with Leicester, and he's one of the most consistent Leicester players in a really poor Leicester team this year. And he still sets the Championship alight for me. Like, I think he's an excellent footballer.
Somerville stayed as well for Leeds, didn't he?
Yeah.
Did they have up to go down with them as well, or did he move?
I think he moved. I think he moved to Brighton.
That's been on television. No, he was in the team, but they took 2 of them down with them, didn't they? Like you say, we've mentioned Eze before, and how many years in the Championship he had, and it just performing week in, week out. So if Mane does kind of back himself, go down with the challenge of getting us back up, go down and try and get 20 goals and assists combinations, like it can happen, and it can be the best thing for you where you're playing week in, week out, scoring goals. But the abundance and skill that he has, he could go into that championship and come back an even better player in the Prem because he's a bit ready rather than a bit more raw as he is. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I think at the end of the day as well, he's a fantastic footballer, but he's come from a different route to what other players. A lot of these players that we talk about who just orchestrate and move straight away have been at the clubs for years and only want what's best for them. I think you have to look at Mane. He didn't want to like go in the Manchester City academy and try and go through that route of football because he knew that the the potential to get into the Manchester City team at such a young age was something that was probably not going to happen as quick as what the Stardom has. Remove him to Rochdale, playing non-league, getting those reps, getting those minutes in. He's got to move to Wolves. He's thought, all right, fair enough, we're going to start again. He's gone through the 18s, flew through it, gone to the 21s, flew through it, got in the first team. That's a credit to him as a pro. That's a credit to him as a player. And that's a credit to him as a person. And I don't see a world where his agent isn't trying to get him out of Wolves because they think he's a Premier League player, and he will be, and is, but he is a person will then have to make that decision. And I think whatever he does, I think he's got a really bright future in football.
Yeah.
Let's quickly wrap up. Last couple of minutes, I think, mate.
Yeah.
Arsenal at the Molineux on Wednesday. I won't be there. I will be in Sheffield at the time, getting ready to go away. I'm not looking forward to the game.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's going to be looking forward to that game, to be honest. I think we'll obviously try and make a team between the two of us.
Yeah.
I think that's fair. And then we'll do a little score prediction and go. So in goal, Jose Sarr. Can't see not having his place.
No.
What wing back? I think it's a hard one, really. I think you'd probably go with Rodrigo Gomez.
I think you need to have someone that can catch them on the counter attack, don't you? You can't just sit behind the ball all game. They will just score. Simple as. So you need to kind of give them a bit of a threat if you can push them back slightly.
Yep. 3 centre backs, I think they speak for themselves. Scare at. He's definitely going to be trying some shift area against Arsenal. He's not going to let him go from the start of last season, is he? Gerrard, Santi, Cressy in the middle, left wing back.
I'm sticking with him on the wall.
Yeah. I think I prefer him on the wall here, to be honest.
He looked like he was up for it today, so yeah, I'd stick him in.
Yeah, he definitely showed a bit of something else. I know, obviously, tactically and, being able to do things and getting the balls into the box wasn't quite there because he was just getting lumped forward. But I want a player who looks up for it and he looks like he doesn't want to sit on the bench. I'll be well up for that.
Especially Madueke as well. If he just start and with what happened last time when he played against Wolves, he might have a bit of stick.
Yeah.
It's probably the one game where I do want Saka to start, to be honest.
Yeah,
Madueke looks like he loves playing against us, doesn't he? So, like Wolf, if you just give him, no space, a few kicks here and there, it could set the game up well.
Talking about Madueke, that leads nicely onto my midfield. Diego West, I don't mind you getting a yellow or red card, mate. Just take that spot out of the game. For his little rant when he was with Chelsea, and for anyone who doesn't know, he was on his private Instagram, but it accidentally leaked to his professional Instagram when he said that Wolverhampton is a shithole. So if Diego West could nicely go and clatter him. I don't even care if he gets a red. Just go and clatter and break his leg or something. I'll be well happy with that. Midfield for me would be Joe, Andre, Mane. Don't know whether you agree.
No Angel.
It's hard, isn't it? It is hard, that one.
I think I'd play
So,
Angel.
I'll chuck you in then. We'll take Andre and put Angel.
Just because we was on here a few weeks back saying Joe and Andre were too similar. So I think I'd like Angel in there, to be fair.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just thinking we want to win that midfield battle, but I think you're right, to be honest. I think we do need some creativity. Yeah, we'll chuck Angel in.
Is it not the game to rest Mane? We talked about him resting before, didn't we? Like, for me, if you're going to rest him, this is the game to rest him because I think there's no point playing a league game. I don't think we're going to get anything from it. So is there a way where we could just give him a 60-minute rest, and if we win the game, we bring him on? If we're not in the game, we give him 90 minutes off after today's game.
Food for thought. Top 2 speaks for itself, really.
Yeah, we've got no one else, have we?
Armstrong, Tolu, I'm happy with that.
Yeah. If that happens and Mane doesn't play, I can't see. I think he will play, but if he doesn't, I'd like to see Armstrong closer to Tolu, not having to drop back. You've got a 3-man midfield. You maybe don't need to be blocking up that midfield anymore because we need an outlet. And if we are playing that ball to Tolu, if he has got Adam Armstrong running around him, hopefully he's got someone to link that ball to in a way.
Yeah, I agree. Liam, can I hazard you for a score prediction?
I think 4-0 Arsenal.
Yeah, they've done that to Wigan today.
Because I think you know, I'm trying not to be too over the top positive after today's game because it was just Grimsby. We didn't create major chances open play. And I just think we haven't got nothing in us to play against a quality team. And I think Arsenal will eat us alive.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do now. I don't care because I won't be here. I'm going to be living it up in another country and not having to think about the disastrous season for 1 week. I'm going to go with a 1-0 Wolves win. And I'll tell you what I'll do. If Wolves win that game,
You
I
shave your
will.
beard.
No, I'll give one person out of our old goal collective chat a free £10 bet. If we win the game against Arsenal, any scoreline, doesn't matter. I'll give them a free £10 bet out of my own back pocket. There's my first giveaway. I'm that confident that Wolves probably won't win the game, but I'm going to go with the Wolves 1-0 win. Why not? Sorry, do you know what? Let's just go and get some happy times back. Liam, I've enjoyed that. Thank you very much. Quick reminder to everyone again for next week. I'm not here. Liam is going to be taking over the editing role, so please don't get giving him any slack. Neither of us have had anything to do with social media prior to setting up the channel. Liam's going to give it his best. I'm going to try and help him as much as I can. Please, please, please give your feedback, not just on next week's video, on this week's video as well. Please like, subscribe and share to the channel. We appreciate all the support that we've had since starting the channel. It's got to have been a good 10 or 15 games now. We can't thank you all enough. We hope you're enjoying the channel. If you've got any feedback, any games that you want us to play, any feedback on us in general, everything gets listened to. Put it in the comments. Send us a message on any of the social medias if you need to or want to. And thank you all for listening. Wolves 1-0. It's coming home, mate. Molyneux, Wednesday night under the lights. Have a good one, and I will see you in a couple of weeks. Liam, you and Nat go and smash it next week, mate. We will see you shortly.
Have a good holiday.
Cheers, mate.